Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it's time for your Leeds versus Tottenham pre-match chat. I'd like to thank you all for supporting the channel. It's been a very busy few days. Games, back to back. This will be the third game in 6 days, but I've had plenty of people connect with the channel, new subscribers, all that jazz. So I want to thank you all, first of all, before we get into it. And, continue to show your love. Please do smash a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and, of course, hit that notification bell. Now, let's get into it. Of course, Leeds United on the back of an absolute drubbing at the hands of Liverpool. Never expected to win the game. It's just the manner in which we went down. We've seen it before. We all predicted it. And if we're predicting it, why isn't Marcelo Bielsa changing the outcome? Because he has the power in order to be able to do that. He's wedded to his ethos. He's wedded to it. And we as a fan base have to back that, have to get behind it, because ultimately changing anything now would have an adverse effect. My thoughts on Bielsa anyway. The guy's right up there. But there comes a time where we have to change tack slightly. And if that means going a little bit more defensive, like we've seen in the back end of last season where we were close to Europe. Remember, we were undefeated at home against any side that was in, the so-called Big Six. So we have done it before. We got 0-0 at home. We beat Spurs at home. We've had some really fantastic results at home. This season's not been the case. And, we a little bit, it felt like against Liverpool, a little bit like lambs to the slaughter. Spurs, okay, nowhere near on the same level as Liverpool. Any Spurs fan will tell you that much. But they have the prowess and the skill set and the players to be able to give us something additional to think about. I'm already worried about the fact that Harry Kane might just drop on halfway. He'll be followed by a centre-back due to the man-marking system, and he'll just pop it over the top for the run of Son, for the run of Kulusevski. And we could be, it could be a tough afternoon. But we have to live in hope that something will change. Do I think we'll get out of the woods? I do. However, it's getting very, very tight. And of course, after Liverpool, again, I'll come back to the fact we were never expected to beat them, but it was the manner. It was Burnley beating Spurs, and all that culminated in a sudden realization that, damn, that gap's not there anymore. 3 points isn't a lot. We've got Spurs at the weekend. They're favourites, rightly so. We could lose. Burnley have got Palace. Newcastle have got Brentford. All these different permutations could mean that we could be on level with 17th going into then some must-win games, Leicester, Norwich, Watford, Wolves. You need to pick up like 6, 7 points, really. It's really like squeaky bum time at the minute for Leeds United and Leeds United fans. And of course, we heard as well today that we're all or the positive bunch amongst us are like, right, okay, yes, things aren't going well at the minute. We can come through this. We'll get out of the woods. Bielsa's methods will work. Over the course of these 13 games, we'll win. We'll get some positive results. But we also have Calvin, Cooper, Bamford, all due to be back in March. Villa game, which isn't too far away. However, Bielsa has come out and said that prediction now that they would return in the first week of March no longer looks likely. Patrick Bamford's not even on the grass. I was hearing that he can't even put his trainers on. Do you know what I mean? Bielsa did say it's probable we'll see him before the end of the season, though. So we might not even see Bamford between now and the end of the season in these 13 games. And we know Calvin and Cooper aren't any closer. And Cooper takes a lot of stick, but we miss him. We miss him. We miss that spine. We miss that leadership. And they're not anywhere closer. They're not anywhere closer. We heard Diego Llorente, Robin Cocker back. Okay, that improves us. That does make us stronger. Cock does do a job in the DM. No one near to the level of Calvin, but who does? I mean, he was England's best player, in the Euros of the last calendar year. So what more can you say? But yeah, it's backs to the wall job again for Leeds United. But the thing is, we don't sort of like go backs to the wall, do we? We come out fighting, and maybe at the minute it's a little bit like, should we? Because I'm all for the methods. But when we're in a situation now where we're so close to the drop, we need to nick a few results. We need to stay in games. We can't lose them, in the first 15 minutes. I've always said and accepted Bielsa's methods and also the drubbings, the City result, for example, because over the course of the season, the positives far outweigh the negatives. However, that isn't happening now, okay? So therefore, we can't continue to lose in the way that we have been. You know what I mean? We have to see a change. And we know he has changed it in the past. So we have to hope, because I'm genuinely, although we've still got a 3-point gap, I'm at the hope and praying stage kind of vibe. I can't get relegated. We can't get relegated. I don't want to even think about it. Do you know what I mean? We're in the fight though, for sure. We're deeply embroiled in that battle. We're just a few points above the drop zone. We're leaking goals for fun. We've got a league high 56 goals, and we've conceded 13 across the last 3 games. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. But we have the right man in charge in Bielsa. I don't see, any credence to bringing in an Allardyce or anyone of that ilk, with this group of players. But Bielsa does have to change, We've got 1 clean sheet across our last 8 home games. I'd love to see us have a clean sheet at the weekend, even if it's a 0-0 boring shit game. I don't care. We need Rafinha to perform. I was speaking to Tobes yesterday, and he was like, "Yeah, but you've got to play him. But he's a bit of a passenger for me. Apart from that second half against Manchester United, when he came back from Brazil duty, he's been gash. Does he start? Of course he starts. My lineup would be, and I'm so grateful that Llorente and Cox back, because what it means is that Firpo should be able to play left back, and Dallas is going to be able to go into midfield. For me, I would line up with Melier in goal, Luke Ayling right back, Llorente and Strauch centre back, Junior Firpo left back, Koch in the Calvin role in the DM, and then I would have the midfield 2 of Forshaw and Dallas. Rodrigo would come out for me. So would Harrison. I would move James to left wing, Raf right wing, and play Joffrey up front. You've got to play him. You have to play him. He is a natural striker. He will cause that backline of Spurs problems, And listen, Spurs are not in great form. They lost to Burnley last time out, Antonio Conte has lost as many Premier League games across his last 5 games as he has done in his previous 21 across spells at Chelsea and Spurs. So this is unlike Conte. This is very Spursy, if you like. They've won 1 and it was a fantastic result against City, but then they've lost 4. They're not in great form. But normally that means that Leeds United are going to give you a result, doesn't it? Conte's questioned in his own ability to improve this situation. He was calling out players in effect, maybe hoping that he will see a return to form against Leeds. But, it was only a week ago he was calling them the best group of players he's ever worked with. So I don't know if I agree with the fact that it was Conte actually trying to rev up the players. He's just unhappy. He's not used to losing and he wants to leave. That's the way I see it. Look, we can take some positives from that situation, but it's a double-edged sword, because it could mean Spurs will turn up and blow us out of the water with the likes of Son and Kane for sure. But we have to take positives from their midfield situation. Bentancur and Ollie Skip are out, so the midfield 2 will consist of Harry Winks and an out-of-form Højbjerg. And that's why I play Forshaw and Dallas. Forget Click, forget Rodrigo. We need a little bit of defensive stability in there, a little bit of work rate. We can't carry passengers right now. And I think Forshaw and Dallas is the perfect opposite to, a perfect battle with Winks and Højbjerg. I just think, with Click, he's out of form. With Rodrigo, he doesn't do enough off the ball. With Forshaw and Dallas, you're going to get that, And then our front 3 can certainly cause problems for their backline. Their backline will consist of Romero, Eric Dyer, Ben Davis. That'll be the 3 centre-backs. Right wing-back, Emerson Royal. Left wing-back, I imagine, will be Reguilon. I think he was on the bench against Burnley. He may come back in. Look, Romero's an exceptional centre-back, but the other 2, I'm not having them. I'm not having Emerson Royal. James can cause him all sorts of problems. That's why James needs to start at left wing. Let Joffrey lead the line. As I said, the midfield too, Højbjerg and Winks, it's the weaker of the possible partnerships we could have come up against. The thing that does worry me is the front three, of course. It's Harry Kane, it's Heung-min Son, it's Kulusevski. It's not Kulusevski, it's Moura maybe. But it is going to be tough for Leeds United. And the first goal, as is always the case, is so important in this game. Leeds United now, the mood within the fan base is very, very worrying. And I'm worried. And, you know, I'm not by any means a barometer, but what I'm saying is a lot of people say I'm too positive. So if you've got your most positive, I guess I know there's people more positive than me, but like people make the joke, oh, if Joe's worried, then we need to be worried. So I just have this horrible feeling that if we were to concede early, that the atmosphere would just be sapped, and you know, then we'll struggle. Leeds United will struggle. So we have to start really well. And when I say start really well, it means more than performance. We need to go in front. You know, I'm sick now of seeing us be competitive, being involved in games, losing the ball in transition and then conceding a soft goal, soft penalty, and we're done. We're done, you know. The confidence is sapped. So we need to start well. And what I mean by that is we need to score first in this game in order for us to get anything. I'd snap your hands off at a point. I'd snap your hands off at a 0-0, you know, but Spurs will be ready to get something from this game, especially in their pursuit of top four, which I think they'll miss out on just because they're inconsistencies. But, you know, they'll want to perform after that Burnley result. Hopefully, Conte's words have had an adverse effect and we beat them. And Conte, I think genuinely, if they lost against us, Conte will walk. Conte will walk. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see what transpires there. But look, we've got to be positive. It's an early kickoff. It runs the risk of ruining my weekend. I'd take a point. It's telling me 2-1 Spurs. I can't lie. Telling me 2-1 Spurs, but I'm going to go with my heart and say Leeds United get a 1-1 draw. Which again, that shows you, you know, a win would be huge. Win, then we can start getting that passport. No, I'm joking. But I will start to think, all right, okay, come on. But it all depends on how results go across the division. But it's nerving times. But yeah, look, just keep the faith. We have to keep the faith in the man that's in charge. Even if it means a reset in the summer, there's no point resetting it now. 3 years wedded to this. You don't just scrap it up. You don't, because it won't work. Trust me. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you got something from this. I'll be live tonight with Gaz doing a bit of Fank Football. It's Friday, and and I'll see you after the game for a bit of a review chat as well. But thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you in a bit. Peace out. Leeds.